Hey, this is the Gamers Report with Liv and Ben.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We are kind of doing this on our own this week, so
Go rookies.
yeah, the two people who don't know what's going on.
Absolutely.
But I have some news as is required for this, and we're here to talk about it. First on our list is some recent local governments making like laws, or I guess taking steps to protect their parks from Pokemon Go, which first of all is very much too late. Like
It's
it
kind of
was in it
absurd.
yeah. It was in its prime last year, but
I really would like to
it,
see the numbers as far as who's even still playing. I know I do, but a lot of people that I know that used to play have quit months ago. So it's really kind of odd, like you're saying, that they're doing it this late.
yeah, like it's obviously too late now to stop such a big impact from happening. Like everything that's done is done.
Yeah. I know one thing they were speaking of in one of the articles I saw about it was that they're also really trying to prevent against the future of AR games, and I think AR games or augmented reality games, I think they have a future, but honestly, I don't know if there's a franchise that's better set up to do an AR game like Pokemon is because of the element of it being in the wild. I don't know, maybe there's like a zoo animal keeper or something like that. That'd be kind of odd. But I don't
Like
know
a
what
real life zookeeper.
exactly. Yeah, like oh, there's a pigeon. I really actually should catch a pigeon instead of a pigeon. But I don't. Yeah, like I don't see anybody else having the widespread success that Pokemon had. It was the first of its kind. And like I was saying, just with the wild animal aspect, I think nobody's gonna really have that high of a potential as Pokemon had, especially since a lot of the Pokemon fan base were kids in the late '90s, early 2000s, and they were really a large part of who was playing this. And I don't know um, that they have obviously a worldwide following. I don't know if anybody else has the following for this type of game, this type of franchise to do that. So
Yeah, no, Pokemon is something that had such an impact on like millennials now. So
yeah,
like it's
like
just been like it was like the first thing that most kids knew, got most kids into like gaming and into their nerdy
absolutely.
phases.
Some of us a little bit later to the party. I actually growing up, believe it or not, I actually couldn't play or watch Pokemon because it had evolution and some magic, quote quote. But I never really was like mad about it. I just didn't really care about it. It's like, oh, Pokemon, cool. That's other people's thing, but I don't really care for it. I played a lot of sports growing up, but I also played a lot of video games. But like for me, when Pokemon Go came out, uh, I had really just started learning about Pokemon, and obviously like the world that the Pokemon company has created over the years is a really good one, especially early on. I've been watching the Pokemon Indigo League, and I mean, obviously it's pretty bad in some of its writing and scripting,
Yeah.
especially the English version, but it's actually still really good, even though it's not the best production quality. So even for people like me, getting it Pokemon Go was the way in. Most people, it was like you're saying, it was a callback to their nostalgia. So I
Yeah.
think they did a lot of good with this for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean like I'm younger than most people probably in this industry, and it's weird because people are always like, "Oh, well, you weren't there when it was actually like big," but it
I
was still such a big impact
Yeah,
on
like I
me.
had to walk up hills both ways to catch Pokemon.
But yeah, I think that's just the whole thing. Like it wasn't you didn't have to be there as it was being created. You didn't have to be there in the early 90s. Like it could still impact you just the same in like 2002
Oh,
when the games were still coming out.
oh yeah. I mean, even recently with the new Pokemon Go, or not Pokemon, the new Pokemon Game Boy series, I know a lot of people have been saying the TV show for it has really been really good lately. kind of returning to being very watchable. So that's, I don't know if it's even dying as old as it is. It seems like it should be, because the majority of people, like you're saying, majority of people were kids in the late 90s, early 2000s. So they should be quote unquote growing up and growing out of this phase of Pokemon, but they're not. It's still staying popular, which is just amazing.
Yeah, so I just thought that was a good piece of news, considering it's like 7 months too late for this, really, but
Yeah, it's more of an afterthought.
yeah. So next, I was just gonna like briefly mention that I don't know when this is coming out, honestly, but eBay is selling the 500 gigabyte Xbox One S Minecraft bundle for only $200 right now, which is pretty low.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, and
It's not what I paid for mine. I know that.
Yeah, it's not what I got. I guess it was originally at $250 to try and match the PS4 price.
Right.
But it's been dropped lower.
Which that, I mean, $200 for an entire 500 gigs, the 1S and Minecraft. I mean, I know Minecraft's a pretty cheap game. I think you can get it for like $20.
Yeah, at most.
But it's still, I mean, that's a good package. I mean, it's really late in the console's life for most consoles, especially in the day and age that we live in, where consoles now last, 5 years, maybe 6.
Yeah.
New game franchises have to come out with a game every year now. Even Halo's gotten to a point where it's almost every year. So I think, like, the fact that this is already down to $200, I wonder if this says anything about future Xbox concepts coming to a reality.
Yeah, and this is only for a limited time, like, I think February 25th, but still, like, the fact that it's so low could, it could insinuate, I guess, that
Right.
a new one is in the making, at least, or in development.
Right. I hope it's not too soon, though. I still like the one has its problems. I didn't get a 1S because, college students have no money, and it was a miracle that I bought the one that I have. But I really hope it's not too soon, because I don't want to have to pay another $500 to Microsoft, because I'm sure they have gotten plenty of my money.
Yeah, they've gotten enough money from us.
Yeah, exactly. Because as soon as it comes out, it doesn't matter what the price is. Give it about 2 months, and I'll be to the point where I just take my money. Take it now.
It's just that fry meme. Okay, but yeah, that was just something I wanted to bring up. Next, we have something where apparently early versions of the Nintendo Switch, which earlier this week, the first unboxing video appeared, but it's like not actually supposed to be out yet for a few more weeks.
Right.
And Nintendo has confirmed that some of the Switch systems that appeared in the wild were stolen from a distributor partner.
Wow, that's pretty it's not great. Not great
Yeah,
at all.
so
Well, especially
they've
when you
been
think about how anytime anybody does anything with Nintendo and puts it on YouTube, they're very quick to strike and put strikes out on those videos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think that's a bad play for Nintendo. But that's really funny that it happened to them, since they are so tight on not having anything out there on YouTube, especially.
Yeah. Because I guess they have been stolen in an isolated incident by employees of a U.S. distributor, and that one system that was in the unboxing was illegally resold, and those people can face criminal charges.
Yeah, that's not wise, but it is definitely interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't illegal, I'm sure other people do it.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty close to launch, so maybe it won't hurt their sales too much. I doubt it will hurt their sales, but I know Nintendo's definitely not happy about it.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's like what? Like, let's see.
I think we're 2 weeks from launch or something.
Yeah, it's
March, or it's early March. I think it's the first. It's the
it's
first or
March
third,
3rd.
right? Yeah, third.
So it's like 2 weeks
Very
until
close.
launch for just $300, which is
Right.
a lot, but still,
I've heard it has
like,
some not memory, some data storage shortages. So
oh yeah.
you're not going to be able to play long on the battery life or something. I don't really know. What they're doing with the Switch, it's very creative, and it's new, and I'll give them originality points, but I just don't want a console and a handheld or a portable. It's just, if I want my console, I want my console. If I want my portable, I'll get a portable. I don't know how this is gonna work out for them, but since they do have such, I think they have the best portable franchise
Yeah.
out of your major,
By far.
especially in America. I don't see many people with PlayStation. What was it? Vitas? What was it?
PSP.
Yeah, PSPs and.
I used to have one of those, and
Yeah,
then I think I
a
lost
lot of
it.
people had them, but I was at something in New York during New York Comic Con. I didn't see anything but Game Boys and Nintendos. So
Yeah, those are the ones that everyone goes
they
back to.
exactly, they really dominate the market there. So if anybody can do it, if any of the big three in America can do it, it's absolutely Nintendo. But it'll be really interesting to see if people do make the switch, the switch to the Switch, or if they stay with the DS.
Yeah, because I know that I have a DS, and I mean, like, I don't use it as much as I used to, like, when I was younger, but I still, like, will occasionally go back to it and play Pokemon or something.
Right.
Like, it's just something that, it's kind of timeless.
Yeah, I think I had a Game Boy Advance, and then I might have had an SP, but then I had the Game Boy DS, like the original Game Boy DS, and I had that for a while, and then my brother broke mine in middle school. Somehow he got a new one out of that, and I didn't. I don't understand that, but I've not had a Game Boy since then. Sad to say. I don't know. I going to college, and I actually drove quite a bit to college my first 2 years, so I didn't really have time to play one. I never bought one again. Most of my mobile gaming I do on phones, so it won't.
Yeah.
It won't affect me, but I'm sure it'll affect a lot of gamers.
Yeah, and then I guess also, like, February 17th, which, as we're recording this, was 2 days ago, they, or, Eurogamer reported, oh my god, that the Nintendo Switch will tie digital purchases to an account instead of just, like, one piece of software. So that's also a big step for Nintendo. So you don't have to, like, rebuy the same stuff.
Right. Kind of like Play Anywhere with Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I know I know most people between consoles and whatnot, they'll buy the same games. It happened to me with Halo, or not Halo, Xbox for a long time. Call of Duty, or not Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto was not backwards compatible. There was a lot of backwards compatibility took a while to come out, which that's one thing that I think Nintendo has done really well, is their backwards compatibility. I mean, you could play GameCube games on the Wii, you could play old Game Boy games or Game Boy Advance games on the DS. So I think they do really well with that. But I had to buy Grand Theft Auto twice in a 2-year span to play it on a new console, and that really kind of irritated me. So I mean, I still paid for it, but it's one thing that Nintendo definitely has working in its favor, selling a $300 mobile device.
Yeah, and then I also saw that I guess Nintendo was less interested in Bethesda games before Switch, which, like all of Nintendo's earlier products you could only play Nintendo games
Right.
on, and I guess with the Switch they're introducing where you can, like, I know they're having Jackbox games
Wow.
and just like all of those. So I feel like
I think
they kind of
Jackbox,
realized like
they need
that
that.
was, yeah,
Yeah,
they
step
realized
inside.
like they need to get more than just Mario and Sonic and Zelda.
Mario, Sonic, and Zelda are great. Um, Phenomenal franchises, phenomenal characters, but and great games. But eventually, you don't want to just play the same things over and over. I know. I personally, my favorite game, my nerd game is Halo. I've played Halo forever. I love it to death. I play it almost every day still, even though a lot of people don't like the newer ones and whatnot. I still play it every day, but there's some days I don't want to play Halo. There's some days I want to play something else, and I mean, Halo is Microsoft's flagship game. It's been Xbox's flagship game since what 2001, and
Yeah.
but Xbox realized there are other franchises that we need to get. Take a Rocket League for example. Rocket League was on PC only and PS4 only for a while, and or PS3 only, and Microsoft and them came to an agreement, and Rocket League came to Xbox, which is phenomenal. And as a matter of fact, I believe they were the first game to introduce play between PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Oh,
Like
like
in the during
multi-console.
exactly multi-console during the same game. So like you could be on an Xbox and play someone on computer. I believe that's correct. Um, and that's a great game. I love Rocket League. If Nintendo, I think if Nintendo, like you're saying, if they had not have come to this where they decided things like Jackbox, because I think Jackbox is a perfect game for the Switch. A lot of people like to play together, especially mobile. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
a
a
big
great
like
thing.
party game.
Absolutely,
A big,
and
big party game.
one thing I noticed, the one place I noticed the most is seeing like videos and highlights from cons like Comic Con, RTX, and things like that. Is people playing in line while they're waiting, and I think Jackbox is a great franchise to go with for Nintendo, especially since you play on a mobile device. Even when you have the console version, I have the Xbox One version, and you play on your phone. So, I think it really
Yeah.
fits in well with them.
And especially like with, I know it's not all the games, but I think with, I would say maybe Quiplash or something, or that's probably wrong, but there are some games with Jackbox that can have up to like 100
Yeah,
people.
there's a
So
lot of possibilities.
it's like extremely multiplayer. It's good for really big parties, which the Nintendo Switch seems to want to specialize in.
Right. I think so. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Also, you were saying with Bethesda games. Now, were you saying that they do have Bethesda games or are becoming open to it or?
Um, I have played Bethesda games. I'm not
Okay.
very like experienced with them.
Okay. So you were saying earlier is Nintendo are they gonna have Bethesda games or are they considering it?
Apparently, Bethesda is bringing its The Elder Scrolls Skyrim to the Nintendo Switch, making
Wow.
it the first time a game in the series has been released on a Nintendo platform.
Yeah. So, that's great. I think personally, I've never played any of the Fallout's other than here and there at a friend's house. Same with Skyrim, obviously, which is a shame because I know those are good games. The thing with Bethesda, they don't usually when they put something out, it's killer. They don't release something from a franchise every single year. I mean, take Grand Theft Auto 5 for example. It's been out for 4, 5, 6 years, something around there.
Yeah.
It's been out forever. They still release. I think they finally recently announced there's not going to be any more DLC. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure they said that. But I mean, you're still getting content this far into the game. It's still a great game to go back and play. Fallout Shelter, all the Fallout games really you can put a ton of time into. The Skyrim games, and people do like they still play those games for 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, especially Skyrim, as old as it is, they remade it, and people are still spending 20+ hours a week on it. And
Yeah.
to do that in today's gaming culture is phenomenal. Even like I was saying earlier, even Halo's gone to almost one game a year. So for them to be able to do that, when they do put something out, they kill it. It's a lot like I'm struggling to remember his name, but the guy that makes the Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy games, he pushes his
Mm-mm.
releases back. But it's very rare that you can find groups like that who do put out a game once every so often and people play it for a long time. So I think that's a
Yeah.
great choice for Nintendo to start expanding with.
Yeah, and I think for Christmas I was given Skyrim from my best friend, and I don't think I've ever played any of the Elder Scrolls games. I haven't played well, I've played like maybe an hour or two worths of Fallout 4, but still like the fact that they're bringing it to Nintendo, I would say is just the thing that's really getting to me because of Nintendo's history for being so exclusive to just Nintendo games.
Right. I think it's good to see companies opening up and expanding just for their own personal benefit. I understand that they have Nintendo does things differently, obviously, than a lot of American-based companies, but um, it is good to see them opening up to involve more franchises, involve other producers of games. And then I think, because honestly, I think then it helps the gaming community kind of connect. Um, like if you're one of those people who you only play Nintendo, um, those are, and typically that's the group of gamers that get labeled like the ultra nerdy gamers that like most people don't want to hang out with or whatever. And I think that's really kind of bad, obviously. But with the expansion of that, of the games that are really popular among people who wouldn't even consider themselves true gamers, like Bethesda games with Fallout and Grand Theft Auto, like games like that becoming available, I think it really helps bring the gaming community together. Like, hey, we're all playing the same games, we're just playing on different consoles. And I think it's nice to still have that separation because I like Xbox. I've had PlayStation, but I really like Xbox, and I've had Nintendo, but I really like Xbox. But I can still play the same games that PlayStation people play, and I think it
Yeah.
helps bring everybody together, which is really great. The gaming community is finally starting to become something that's not just like, oh wow, that's really lame. It's like, oh, you're a gamer, but I also do play video games, even if it's just NBA 2K or FIFA or Madden. Like I still do like video games. Everybody, I don't think there's really anybody now that's under the age of 20 that doesn't like video games. It's very rare and hard to find now.
Yeah, I mean, even like just the apps on your phone that you
Yeah,
can get, like people are addicted to those as well.
absolutely. I mean, and those are some of those games are so mindless and small, and they're fun, and they lack creativity, originality, and people still play a ton of them. So I mean, and it helps. One thing I've really tried to focus on for the past probably like I'd say 5 to 10 years of my life, which I'm young, obviously I'm only 21, but one thing I've really tried to focus on is not being able to be labeled anything. I played sports 4 seasons out of the year, um, but I still love video games. I watched a lot of Red versus Blue, so like you couldn't really label me like just a nerd because I mean I played sports year round. I was on varsity teams all the way through high school. I still play intramurals, but I'm not like a jock at all, obviously, because if you saw me, like, you would
Yeah.
not really think that I'm a complete athlete. I do love video games. I know quite a bit to be just considered a jock. So I think one thing it really helps is it kind of helps dampen the label of gamer. If that's the only label it helps dampen, it does at least help dampen that and help dampen the stereotype that comes with that label.
Yeah, like they're all heavy. They all just eat Doritos and drink Mountain Dew and call
Doritos
each other
Mountain Dew is great.
"milady."
Yeah, Doritos
Yeah,
and Mountain
but
Dew is great, but not all, like that's not all gamers do, obviously. So
obviously, yeah.
it's it's really nice to see, and it's very similar to the movie industry right now. We're seeing a lot of hero movies and comic book movies, and you don't have to be a comic book fan to understand what's going on in the movies because Marvel especially has done such a good job of making movies that you can just go watch and enjoy and not need to know anything about the universe it's in or any of the other movies. But if you do know, it makes the movie even better for you. So like, I think they were saying one of the one of the theories from the DC universe right now, the DC cinematic universe, is that I kicked myself. I can't remember the name of the guy right now, but his logo or whatever is like Omega, and you can actually see that logo in Batman's dream, and that's kind of foreshadow, but you wouldn't know that unless you've read the comics and you know the comics, or you've seen somebody who's talked about that, who knows the comics.
Yeah.
So like, I've always hated comics because you can kill Batman and the next
like 2 issues later he's back.
Later, like, oh, Robin number 4 found the magic chalice of living life charms and got lucky, and Batman's back to life. Sweet. So I've always hated comics for that. Like when Captain America was like, "Oh, I'm Hydra now," so yeah, that was just.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand what you're doing. You're just trying to make people.
And all of a sudden, Bucky, the Winter Soldier, is Captain America.
Yeah, it's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I understand what they're doing. They're trying to. It's the same thing Stephen A. Smith does in sports on ESPN. He's just there to make you mad, but you're still gonna watch because you like for him to make you mad. So it brings people back in, makes them mad, makes them buy your issues and read them. And then you go back to the way things were. So I've always hated comics for that. A lot of people like that. So I didn't watch it or read them. But now I know a lot more about that because Marvel has done such a good job with making these movies for everyone, not just comic book nerds.
Yeah,
so
and
it brings everyone's together.
Exactly. And this is extremely off topic, but it's related to the whole like hero movie thing. I used to read Marvel comics a lot. And it was just Marvel. Marvel's the only one I was really interested in. But, say, when Civil War was coming out a few months ago, there's this part in the trailer where I think it's, Steve, Captain America says, "He's my friend," referring to Bucky. And Tony replies, "So was I." But in the comic books, it's the other way around. Right before Tony, Iron Man, kills Captain America. And so I was absolutely terrified that when I went and saw the movie, it would be that Captain America was going to kill Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just like something that I picked up as a comic nerd. But, like...
Yeah, see, like, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And with Civil War, it's like... They added so many things, and it looked like it was going to happen, too, in the movie. But they didn't do that.
It's just another, like, one-up for Marvel's marketing. Like, using that, will we go how the comic went exactly, or will we go a little bit different, or will we go completely different? Like, you don't really know. Even though, like, you may have read the comics, like in your case, you still don't know 100% what's going to happen. And I think that's phenomenal. Like, that's just... I love when... multiple movies come together. My favorite trilogy or whatever, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, is actually not Star Wars. My favorite trilogy is Back to the Future, and I know the third one a lot of people hate, but all three of the movies just fit together so well. When you can write several books and you can write several movies, and they fit together, and the details like point back to other moments. I think that's brilliant and phenomenal. So what Marvel's done, especially with their marketing and their use of the comics, and DC's getting better with it, but just the way they use the comics to give a little head nod to people who have read the comics, but also not spoil what they're doing in the movie, is phenomenal. Yeah. It's great, and I think it's one of the things that, like I'm saying, is it really helps bring together people who've read the comics, because then the people who've read the comics after the movie, who went with friends who didn't read the comics at all, never really watched any of the other movies, you can go back and explain, like, okay, this is why that was important. This is why this, like, excited me. Yeah. But you can still go to watch the movie with people who don't know anything about it, and still everyone enjoy the movie.
Yeah, you'll all still feel like the same thrill. You'll all be the same amount of ecstatic.
Exactly. I think I went to see Suicide Squad with a couple of guys I played high school soccer with. one person is kind of nerdy, but not into DC Comics at all, and then my brother. And it was great. We all enjoyed the movie. Even the guy, I mean, some of these guys play Division II soccer here in America, and like that's still pretty good. They're getting free college education for it, so they're decent players, and they're not really nerds or anything. They do enjoy video games, and one of them actually loves Batman, but he doesn't really know anything at all about the comics, and like it was really cool. Like they enjoyed the movie. They didn't think the movie was good. I personally loved Suicide Squad. I thought it was trash, but I loved it. It was like good trash. Like, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn had problems. Like, obviously, Joker does not love Harley Quinn, like, in any universe ever. But
yeah, no, that's like...
That's wrong. But
that needs to stop.
Yeah, they did it well, though, and they made you, like, for me personally, they made me like it. Like, I was like, that's wrong. I know that's wrong, but this is a cinematic universe. It doesn't have to be the same, and I really like their portrayal of it. Now, especially the Joker, was it written absolutely horribly? Yes, the Joker was written terribly, but I'm having a hard time remembering his name. The actor for Joker,
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto, thank you. Jared did an amazing job. Margaret did an amazing job. They had a great cast. They wrote, like, when Will Smith's climactic line of the movie is "You're evil, lady," you've done something really, really wrong. Like, you messed up. Go back. But they all acted it so well. Like, I still liked it. It still looked pretty. The marketing, honestly, in my opinion, the marketing and the build-up was better than the movie. But the song selection, I know it was kind of a wannabe Guardians of the Galaxy, but they just did such a good job of making it where everybody could enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also when it comes back to the Joker and Harley Quinn thing, it was trash, obviously, but they did portray that it was abusive, at least to me.
Right.
Like, they did portray that, yeah, that the Joker was just like, I'm not going to say that, was just screwing with her. And, like, he's just doing it because, he's kind of insane, but she did love him.
Right. There's one thing that, like, they didn't really do a good job of explaining why Harley just all of a sudden was like, okay, yeah, I'll bring you a machine gun, even though that wouldn't make any sense for any doctor to be able to get a machine gun into an insane asylum.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and they didn't really show. One thing I really think they missed out. They absolutely shot it because it was in trailers and other materials, but there should have been at least one or two scenes where the Joker was very abusive, and like when he had the shock torture or whatever in the one ad, one commercial, that should have absolutely been in the movie, because you already really had too much of a lovey-dovey relationship between them. Like, you absolutely should have shown more of the abuse that actually is there. And then the strip club scene was just weird. Like, I when I saw the strip club scene the first time, I was like, why did he kill him? I'm so lost. It was just...
Yeah, it's hard to follow.
Like, the whole... I've seen that scene 2 or 3 times in the past 2 months, and I still just, like... Why did you write... Like, it's not on the acting, not on the character of the Joker. Like, why did you write that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't...
What made you think that was going to work?
Yeah, what made you think that was going to carry the plot further for anybody? I mean, it's just odd to see the potential that movie had and just wasted. I hope Nintendo doesn't do that with their potential expansion of games.
Yeah, and what was it? I remember back, I think it was like right after Suicide Squad was released, Jared Leto was getting like really mad and saying like they cut all my scenes and all that.
Scenes and got 2 in the movie.
Yeah, and I think that also was like, well, one, he was just kind of creepy. Like Jared Leto as a person, as the Joker, was kind of creepy, like sending like dead mice to his like gas coat.
What's it called? The type of acting you act off stage.
Method
acting. Doing method acting. I would love to method act the Joker. That would be phenomenal. I already really like shock humor, so
Yeah.
method acting. I'm sure he thoroughly.
I think he got
enjoyed
the
that.
concept wrong though. Okay, but this is still on the topic of movies because that's what every podcast turns to eventually.
Eventually.
I don't know if you knew about this, but I definitely did not. Apparently there was going to be a big screen adaptation of the BioShock video game,
Wow. I did not hear
which
that.
that's my favorite
I feel like that would be phenomenal.
series.
Just from what I've heard about the plot for Fallout and from what I've seen from playing just a few times here and there, I think that would be a phenomenal concept to do a movie on. I mean, there's already a plethora of post-apocalyptic movies, but I think that Fallout has the potential, like you're saying, to do a really good job of it. And it's already something that so many people love. Like, I wouldn't say go with any of the characters that you have from Fallout. I think they'd be better off to go with another character who has a similar experience, but not to follow the footsteps. So you do have that creative play or leadway where you can change things and go a different route.
Yeah, I guess Gore Verbinski was supposed to be the director of this. Like, BioShock movie was supposed to be rated R, and I think that's part of the reason why it fell apart. Like, they wanted to keep it rated R, and that's, like, to keep it true to the game. They felt like that was what was most appropriate, but they couldn't, like, keep it rated R with how expensive it was, and, like, they were trying to create all of Rapture. Like, that's an underground city.
Yeah, that's a lot of. I mean, it would be great as far as visuals, but that is that's a
Expensive.
That's a task. Yeah, that's not gonna be easy.
I think it'd be easier to make a BioShock Infinite movie because that's in the sky. But yeah, as much as I would love a BioShock movie, I definitely think they should maybe wait and get anticipation higher, get more funds, get like a cast that everyone's going to love.
Yeah, characters,
which
you know, because I mean, even look at Suicide Squad. Like we're saying, bad, poorly written, even worse directing and editing, but the actors made it at least enjoyable, and the hype behind it made it enjoyable. Like do that with Fallout, like you're saying. At least if it's a failure, it'll still be something that people look back and they might hate because it was terrible, but at least they liked the acting and the hype built around it. But I mean, I don't think they're gonna do as bad as Suicide Squad. That'd be pretty impressive.
that would be a feat.
That would be like, wow, you guys take they would deserve a cake.
Yeah.
For that.
And kind of getting back to Bethesda, this is a different topic. It's referring to something that kind of we were talking about later with mobile games and such, but Bethesda, I guess, has been teasing a new mobile game after the huge success they had with Fallout Shelter.
Right. I think, honestly, they might be able. I don't know how they would stretch it or how they'd write it. I don't have all the answers. Just some of them, like 24%. But I think maybe Fallout AR or Grand Theft Auto AR would be really cool. Maybe even a Red Dead, because I know all three of those games are pretty open world.
I mean, I would totally love a Grand Theft Auto AR. Like, I
phenomenal.
just want to go and like rob stores.
Yeah, you hold the camera up and you can I don't know,
Take a selfie before you shoot the guy.
you're like down here at the Sprunk Capitol, about to rob the CEO or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe not exactly the most ethical, but very fun.
Are you shooting people with a gun on your phone camera? It's like, no.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Man. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like, man, you were going 70 in a 25. It's like, so I'm playing a game.
It was a GTA race. They're shooting rockets.
Yeah, that would probably be me.
Would not go over well. Yeah, I've already have several speaking tickets, so that would not be great. Would not be ideal. So have you seen staying on the topic of game movies? Have you seen Assassin's Creed movie? The Assassin's Creed movie.
I did see that.
I guess because cheap college student, I still haven't seen it. So
I thought it was
what do you think
pretty
of it?
good. I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty good. It wasn't really like I haven't played the entirety of any of the Assassin's Creed games, so that's probably why I like it because I don't know that much about it. But even my best friend, who is obsessed with Assassin's Creed, thought it was enjoyable. Her only real problem with it was the like table thing that you're on, because it's supposed
Right.
to be a table, but in the movie it's like a claw that moves you around.
Hmm. That's odd.
Yeah, but that was like her only main problem with it. Otherwise, she liked it.
How upset about that was she?
She said it kind of like pulled away from what it's supposed to be like.
Right.
Like it kind of takes away from that gaming nostalgia, bringing you back to the game.
Right.
But
Now
everything else about it.
as far as being someone who doesn't play games at all, how do you think people like that who are not gamers, who would not consider themselves gamers, how do you think they would have felt about the movie?
I think they would have really enjoyed it, especially if they like the like historical context behind it, where they're going back to like Christopher Columbus and all that.
Right.
Like I'm a big history nerd,
Right.
and so I think that's also why I will like the Assassin's Creed games when I get around to finishing them.
Right. Now, are you playing through all of them like in order or?
My best friend has told me to skip the first one and start with 2.
See, I started with 4, which was a very different game from the first 3 or 4 games, and I loved 4 to death. I would have had it 100%, but I was playing somebody else's copy for a long time on the 360, so I didn't have a Unity account, so I couldn't get the Unity chest. That was the only thing I didn't have in the game, 100%, like all the chests, everything. And that irritated me because I'm very completionist about
Yeah,
things.
me
I'm
too.
slightly OC, like most gamers are. But I tried to go back and play 1, like start over and just like learn the whole series. And I played about 35 minutes of 1 and decided that I did not hate myself that bad. And that I was gone. I have played Unity, which Unity was a good game, I guess. It seemed like very basic Assassin's Creed storyline. But and a lot of people hated it for that reason. But I feel like Assassin's Creed overall is a really good game. So I've not played Assassin's Creed, the one in London. I'm not sure what the name of it is right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I know that I have seen gameplay of it and it looked really good. And the mechanics have obviously consistently gotten better. So I think it's a good. I thought it was a good choice for a movie, as far as a game goes.
Yeah, and I think they did portray it well when it comes to just the whole game aspect. Like, he was, like, on death row, and that's how he gets into this whole situation.
Right.
Which I'm pretty sure is still true to the game.
Right.
I'm not positive, but
I think there's a couple where you start out in prison, which is kind of odd. I think that's how Skyrim starts out, is right there on the chopping block, right there in front of it. So
yeah.
it's like, oh, now I have power. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. But yeah, if you like history and stuff like that, I've never really been a fan of anime, but I've recently started to watch it. One anime that I thought was really good. There's only 1 season right now. But it's called Drifters. Have you heard of that?
Drifters? No, I haven't heard of it.
It's pretty good. The basic gist, I don't want to give anything away. The basic gist is these heroes and stuff. Not all of them are heroes or good people, but these iconic figures from history are pulled out of our reality and into another very Middle Earth like reality, and kind of wreak havoc in our warlords in that realm, or do good or bad, or just different factions and whatnot. So but there's several history characters. I know there's several that are Japanese. There's a couple. I think one's from France. Um, I think one's from the Middle East. And
It sounds like a really interesting
it's
concept.
a really good concept. When I heard about it, it was one of the first animes I actually watched, like true animes. There's a lot of people who say Ruby, that's made by Rooster Teeth, is not an anime, but I watched that pretty regularly. I stay up to date with it. But the first true, like, I believe it's Japanese made, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think
the
I
first
saw.
true anime that I've seen was Drifters. So that was it was really good. Only 12 episodes, but it was. I watched it every week, like as soon as it came out. So as soon as the at least a subbed version. I prefer dubs because I'm new to anime and I'm not a purist like most anime fans. But that was really good if you like history with games or history with slight changes and in the character of the person that you think how they were. So they did a really good job of it, I think.
Yeah, I think that just sounds like a really interesting concept, which I'll probably check that out, honestly.
Yeah, it's been really good. I can't wait for. I believe it had a second season confirmed, which is exciting. So, staying on the topic of gaming movies, then, have you ever seen any of the Halo movies?
No.
I don't think any of them were box office. I have.
Yeah, no, because I was going to say I thought they were going to be box office, and then they just never came out. Like, I didn't know they came out.
Yeah, I found out about most of them, like, later after they were released. I have all of them now on DVD, and they're pretty good. Honestly, Halo Nightfall, or The Fall of Reach, Halo Nightfall was, in my opinion, really, really good. I'm trying to remember the main actor for it. He's in several other things. I've seen him in other things, but it was a really good movie. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to remember who it was. I'm actually gonna look it up really quick because I've seen him in other things. But I thought they did a very good job, especially Forward Unto Dawn, of staying accurate to the game, making the visuals very close to accurate for the game. So I think staying close to, especially for games like comics, not as much in my opinion, but for games, it's really important to stay very close to the game.
Yeah. Especially because with games, those tend to be, I wouldn't say more accessible, but more people do like have that outlet to see the original.
Yeah, and there's less left to the imagination.
Yeah. Like when it already has like a storyline and plot. Like with comics, that's true, it does. But I would say, like, there's already so many different variations in all these different universes. Like how there's like Marvel 616 and like the other universes. There's just like there's already so many different variations, so even if they do something different, somebody can probably connect it to a different like universe that already exists, so people still aren't that mad about it.
Right, and I guess technically Nightfall is actually a TV series. I just have like the abridged version for movie, more of a movie feel to it. But yeah, the main character, or not, he's not the main character technically, but Sergeant Spartan Locke, or he becomes Spartan Locke, is acted by Mike Coulter, and he's actually he's in Men in Black 3, he's in Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. He's a colonel in Men in Black 3. So I mean, he's been in some. They had some pretty decent actors for that. And I personally, there were some parts of Halo Forward Unto Dawn that were kind of slow. But they did a pretty good job of building the characters, especially of one of the the students who eventually becomes someone. I'll try to leave it spoiler free. I know it's several years old, but um, it's really a good watch for you guys, and I'm sure the majority of you listening to this are going to be gamers, since it is the Gamers Report. But I really suggest you to watch Forward Unto Dawn. I believe it's still available on YouTube, like official versions. One of the students ends up becoming an important figure throughout the recent Halo games 4 and 5, and it really makes you like his character a lot more and appreciate him a lot more, and like how he came to his position. And you get to the point where like you hear him in the game or you see him in the game, and like you like I don't know, for me it made me like happy, like even when he's not been a part of this franchise for a long time, like Master Chief or Cortana or Dr. Halsey, but like just hearing him talking like, oh, we're gonna see him again, like, oh, he's about to do this or this, it's like, oh wow, that's really exciting. I'm getting excited about a secondary character who is really, I mean, he's somewhat important, but not like the most important person in the game, and it's really nice to see how they tied the movie into the game, and they're in the same universe. So is that
Yeah,
like, is that the case with the? I'm pretty sure it is, but will the movie affect any of the Assassin's Creed games going forward? Do you think?
I think it probably could have some role in affecting like the timeline or whatever, but I think I would know more after playing, or maybe if I asked my friend. But I think if anything involves like say if in the Halo movies it had something that was like further on, or something that was so like effectory that would like change something in the timeline. Like I know in the Assassin's Creed movie it came back to the present time and something big happened. Like I feel like that could
Right.
like change how things play out in different games if they are making more.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if these big franchises, because I think realistically they're the only ones that are going to be able to keep producing or produce all these movies, are these bigger franchises like Halo, Bethesda, Unity. It would be really cool to see Unity do something other than Assassin's Creed. Like, I think it would have to be a comedy, but a Trials movie would. I think that would be pretty funny. I don't know if you've played much of Trials. I've not played a ton of Trials. I've watched people play Trials quite a bit, but I don't really. I played it today actually, which is odd, but I don't play it a ton. But I know they released their most recent game was kind of more of a wacky. It had guns in it. Like it's been a bike game for how long, and now it has like random guns and stuff in it. Like it's kind of off the wall. But I think if they made a movie like that were like, they just really went out of the way to be extra creative and have unnecessary things in the movie. I think that's one series that could go away from the games and make a really good movie that's based on a game.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm trying to like think what other games out there could make potentially like really nice movies. Like I was talking about earlier, BioShock was going to be one, and then they canceled it. That would have been phenomenal. The Halo ones were never sent to box office, which I'm kind of surprised about.
Right. I personally I was sad about that. I really wanted to see that. Because I mean, there's been talk for a long time about making that because of the popularity. I mean, Halo did so much for first-person shooters on console. I know Call of Duty did a lot, but really Halo was the original, like, hey guys, let's play a first-person shooter together. Like, a bunch of us play together, multiplayer.
Yeah, it was like the beginning of an era,
it was slightly before my time, but, like, LAN parties are still something that people, especially people who took part in them, like, still talk about, like, as the good old days. And, like, I never was part of that. I didn't really have a lot of friends who play. I didn't like. This is gonna sound odd. I didn't really have a lot of friends that I hung out with when I was little because I lived like out in the country. Most of my friends I went to school with, and they lived like in the city, so they didn't really. Their parents obviously didn't want to drive like 30 minutes to come pick them up, like 15 minutes here and then back. And
Yeah.
then I didn't have internet where I lived until I was, I want to say middle school, and I didn't have Xbox Live until I was a sophomore in high school. So I was kind of behind on the online gaming, but just having Halo and playing offline for me was such like something I did like a ton of. Like I'd come home if I didn't have practice in middle school, and I played through the first 3 Halos. I don't know how many times by myself, and then sometimes I'd make my little brother play with me. But that was about that, and when my cousin came to visit, that was about it for playing multiplayer. So I didn't really get to experience LAN parties, but just to hear people talk about them, like it really started something new. It really showed that this was going to be the next thing, and then they also, with Halo Wars, showed that RTS could be done on a console and done well. As a matter of fact, the Halo Wars 2 comes out in 2 days. Well, actually, I guess it'll be coming out when we release this. So Tuesday on my birthday, it'll be coming out, which is fantastic. I think they're
Yeah.
going to do really well with this game. I've played the beta. It looks really clean. And it looks like it introduces new things. But like Halo's done. Like there's a lot of people who are Call of Duty over Halo. I only buy Call of Duty if I have friends that are actively playing it. Halo is does just such a good job of plot and character development and not killing everyone every game. That was probably the most frustrating part for me. My first like Call of Duty that wasn't one of the originals was Modern Warfare 2, and then they kill everyone in the end. So I was just like, why? I enjoyed this game and this writing, and then you messed it up. So
Yeah. I it's not Call of Duty, but with Halo, I actually never really got into Halo until ODST, and I remember
so good.
I remember my best friend always being like, "Oh my God, play this with me," and then we would play for like 20 minutes, and I'd be like, "I'm bored. Can we stop?" And I remember with ODST, it came out, and she was like, "Just try this one. It's really good," and she like got me sucked into it, and
That's
it
an
was
accurate
like,
term.
yeah, it was like 4 hours later, and my mom comes to pick me up, and I'm like, hold on, I'm not done.
Yeah, and that was the game that could really eat your time, as far as Halo games go, because it was not linear. It was go find crap. Oh, you didn't look up in the sky in this one part of the city and happen to notice something? Screw you. You're gonna be here for 45 more minutes running in circles, and then you're gonna leave this
Yeah.
area and you find out that you're still in the wrong place. So it was a confusing game, but man, was it a good game. Like the story, the characters were phenomenal. Buck, and obviously everyone loved Buck enough that they wrote him back into the series with Halo 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the spin-offs from ODST, I personally am a big sponsor for wanting another ODST game. The books that came out after ODST that were about the squad and the story that they wrote about the squad after the game was just so good. Like it allowed them to do so much and create so much more out of that one game. So I really think it'd be hard to match it because, like you're saying, that was a good game. Like, even if you didn't like Halo before that one, that was still a good game.
Yeah, like that game definitely made me want to like try the others.
Right. And it's like it's not as mobile as maybe the Call of Duty games. Like, you can't sprint in the first 3, but as far as mechanics go, I think it's kind of it's the kind of game where the way the mechanics worked for it, if it was released today, it would not have any following. Like I think it would completely fall apart. It has a good storyline, but it's just so clunky and heavy that like people would I feel like personally people would not be very interested in it. But because of when it was released, and because it was so new in first-person shooter and multiplayer, it was allowed to do those things, I think.
Yeah. But I think this is probably the point where Kieran would ask you what you were playing. What game are you playing now?
Um, I've really not gotten anything new recently because I'm a broke college kid. But
Yeah.
I still play Halo every day. Not every single day, but most days. I'm trying to get the top rank for multiplayer, just because I'm completionist and I've started down that path and I'm stuck. But that I'm working. I'm still playing Minecraft, trying to get all the achievements. Um, so I'd say probably right now my main game is still Halo. I just started a NBA 2K16 tournament. We used updated rosters, but I started a 2K16 tournament or season actually. Friday night we played the first 2 weeks worth of games, and it was phenomenal. I think our we had 6 total games. The worst game was an 11-point difference, and that was our one of our best players and one of our worst 2K players playing each other, and it was still only 11 points. Our two closest
Yeah.
games I played in both of our closest games. We have a pair of twins in our friend group, and I played one of them the first game and lost by 6, which was very depressing. And then I turned around to play the week 2 game and I played his brother, went into overtime and lost by 6. So, so the two closest games were the 2 games I lost. I started out a solid 0-2 in a 10-game season. So I guess those are the games. I try not to play just one game, but those are the games I'm really playing right now. What about you? I think I know the answer, but what are you playing right now?
I haven't started playing it, but I got Astroneer, like the new early access game,
Okay.
and I don't know if you've seen anything for it.
No, I
Like,
haven't actually. I've really not heard about it. What is it? PC or?
right now I think it's just PC, but it's like it's I've heard it referred to like No Man's Sky a lot,
Hmm.
which I haven't played that and I don't know much about No Man's Sky, but it's like Astroneer is I guess this open layout and you're put on a planet and you have to like try and expand, you have to like colonize it.
Maybe they won't have the same problems that No Man's Sky has. No Man's Sky, from what I understand, was one of those games that people got and played, and then they played it and played it and played it and still played it, but they hated themselves for it because of certain things.
Yeah.
So,
Like I think I've actually heard multiple people say like if they had to get rid of one game, well, I've heard many people say that if they had to get rid of like one game, it would
No
be
Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Yep.
But after the early access for Astroneer came out, people said that their reason for it was because they want No Man's Sky and Astroneer to like merge, I guess, because
Hmm.
then it would become like the perfect game.
Oh, wow. Maybe fix some of those, like, no multiplayer problems that people have.
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna start playing Astroneer very soon because that game looks so like fun and honestly the little astronauts are so cute.
So what's the general concept of the game other than just to expand? Are you like one person? Do you have like call it like people?
Um, you you're one person but you can be multiplayer in it.
Okay.
Um, it's like oh gosh, I'm not like quite sure how to explain it. I'm
Right.
gonna
Okay. Well, I
look
mean,
at it.
It's still in it's in beta, correct? So, I
Yeah,
know
I'm trying to like look at it.
the one game. Obviously, I'm not really a Final Fantasy fan, but I love Kingdom Hearts. And
Oh
I
yeah.
recently went back and watched every game, like the cutscenes. Took me 2 weeks between classes and work, but it's so good. And really pumped up for Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out this year in April. And then I still kick myself because I still can't remember his name. Was like the producer of the game came out and said, "Oh yeah, 2018," which is not uncommon for him. He does it all the time. So I wasn't shocked, but at the same time, I had got so set on it coming out. was like, ah, man. So I guess the other thing besides Halo Wars 2 I'd be looking forward to is I don't know if you've heard about it, but Sea of Thieves.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of it.
I really hope that comes out as a good game. Looks really interesting. Maybe we could get
and
like
then,
a media wave piracy ship club, whatever they're gonna call it in the game, a guild together. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I was gonna say, I don't know if you ever played or have watched like a playthrough of the older game Clock Tower.
No, I don't think so actually.
Yeah, I never played through it like on my own, but I would watch my brother play it because he was like, "No, you can't play it. It's my game."
I was never
But
like that with my brother.
yeah, no, my brother was very much like that. So I guess it's like, let's see, there's Clock Tower 3 was the one that he mostly played around me. But it was kind of like a lot different, I guess, in respect to like the earlier ones. But it follows like this girl named Alyssa who is 14, I believe, and she is related to this whole like lineage of female warriors, and they have to like throughout her family's history they've defeated these like evil spirits, but it like it's mostly different from the earlier games because this is the first game, Clock Tower 3, in the series to incorporate like direct control of Alyssa. And so like I remember just it scared me a lot because like there's like all of these bad guys. There's like this one in a gas mask, which is always freaky as hell.
Yeah.
But like I just think it was always an interesting game, and though I never played it, it's something that even though it's pretty old, I would go back and play it just because it's, I guess, I don't know what to say for it exactly, but like the villains in it are really interesting, and from what I remember, at least, the plot was really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Those are some. I think we have a pretty wide range of games we're playing right now and looking forward to. Which I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I'm really not sure anything else there is to talk about. We mentioned most of the news for this week, hopefully.
Yeah. And we talked about what we're playing and excited for.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But
I think that's a successful episode.
Okay. So let us know what you guys are playing this week down in the comments, obviously. And we do have comments, right? Like, we didn't lose those. No one stole the comments and released them early, right?
No, I'm pretty sure that we have our comments still. Nobody stole them and sold them prematurely.
No unboxings.
No.
Well, that's good. Maybe we did something right this week.
Yeah, we protected our podcast.
Allegedly.
But, yep. So I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah, thanks guys for listening. If you listened to this long, I'm impressed with you.
I'm impressed that they sat through our rambling.
Yeah, and for rookies.
Yeah. I don't think we did too bad, honestly.
I'd give it a solid B plus.
Like, maybe at least a solid B.
Maybe a C.
Yeah, probably a C.
All right, well, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.